I recently came across a video by the former president of Nigeria, Goodluck Jonathan, where he was addressing dignitaries at the Goodluck Jonathan Foundation in Ghana. And he had a long speech, but what caught my attention is where he was talking about the growth margin between the Asian continent and Africa, and particularly Nigeria, where he buttressed the fact that as at the 1960s and 1970s, Africa was doing better than most of these Asian countries in terms of, foreign reserve and economic growth. However, as of today, the Asian countries are near first world, while Nigeria and many other African countries are still, in the third world. He has his own theory as to what led them there, but the African continent has a huge limitation that could hinder us from getting there. We will come back after seeing this video to actually dissect these hindrances that is actually stopping Africa from moving, and we'll see solutions, what we can possibly do collectively to get off of this place.
When I became a vice president, I didn't know I was going to be a president anyway, but somehow instinctively I just felt that what happened to these Asian tigers? Some of these Asian countries that, in Nigeria especially, say Singapore and others, Malaysia, we were at the same level. In fact, in the late 50s to early 60s, we were even better in some parameters, but now they are almost entered first world or near first world. We are still down. What happened within this period? How long does it take them? And what are the cases? And some group of friends said, okay, I should not worry, they were going to do the research for me. And they did investigation for me, and when they came back as a summary, it took between 30 to 40 years for these countries to move from where we are today in Nigeria, Ghana, to where they are, from third world to first world or near first world. Just 30, 40 years, within the lifetime of anybody. But the funny thing, which I always find it difficult to mention so that I'm not misquoted, is that, and it tallies with some of the questions they asked and Obasanjo tried to explain, but it was difficult to explain. Most of them, those countries, within those short periods, were managed by dictators. So sometimes it's very difficult for you if you know what happened in society. And of course, if you know that in the parliamentary system practiced by Britain, I don't know how many years Margaret Thatcher stayed as a prime minister, or maybe a place like Germany, the Chancellor of Germany, you can stay there for 40 years if you continue to win your elections. So we Africans who must begin to look at governance. The problem in Africa is our electoral system.
Okay, now you've seen the video, and I'd really like to know what's going on in your mind. Because if his theory is that dictators were the one that led the countries, those Asian countries, to first world and all that, is that an insinuation, one, or is it deliberately ignoring factors that are limiting Africa from reaching first world? Now let's look at factors that may be limiting Africa from reaching there. There are several of them ranging from policy to international interference to ethnic groups and tribes. But let's come to ethnic groups and tribes. First of all, in Japan, the Yamota-Minzoku ethnic group covers 98% of the population, right? And you can imagine how policies will be made over there. Really easy, no contenders, just straightforward. As far as we agree, we move on. A country with one tribe, one voice, one policy, one ethnic group, marching for the top. Tell me what will stop them. Then in China, the Han ethnic group covers 92% of the entire population. I mean, there are the minorities, the Tibetans, the Mongols, the Uyghurs, if I pronounce it right. Those ones make up about 8% of the entire population, while the Han ethnic group covers 92% of the entire China. And then if you go to Malaysia, the Bumiputera covers about 62%, while the Chinese Malaysians and Indian Malaysians take about, the remaining. But what we are seeing here is that they are of either 2 or 3 ethnic groups at best. If you come to policy making in the country where they have only one ethnic group and all that, it becomes a lot easier. There will be unification of voice. Now, let's bring it down to Nigeria. In Nigeria alone, there are over 250 ethnic groups in one enclave called Nigeria, and about 371 tribes, different tribes and different ethnic groups, all with different languages. There is the Yorubas, the Igbos, the Hausas, the Fulanis. You understand? The largest ethnic group in Nigeria, which is the Fulani and Hausa combined, makes up 25%. And then the Yorubas covers 13.1%. The Igbos cover 13%. And then the TVs, the Ijaws, and the rest of the minorities make up the about 38% that is remaining. Now, tell me how this nation, this enclave, will be led to first world. Policies are definitely going to be altered, questioned. Why should we? A few factors that can hinder Nigeria from reaching first world, and it is very, very peculiar. Number one is the ethnic divide and bigotry. You know, politicians use this very much every 4 years. Every time it's election season, the ethnic divide becomes a huge part of it. Illiteracy is another thing they weaponize. They weaponize illiteracy so much. Now, I'm coming to illiteracy. Then the other one is love for country. Listen, if you don't have love for country, there's no way you can do anything to move the country forward. Now, policies, progressive policies. What are the kind of policies that have been enacted over the years for Nigeria? You understand? Now, the policies have all tanked Nigeria in one way or the other. The last but not the least is production capacity. What is the production capacity of Nigeria? What is the export capacity of Nigeria? You understand? Because there is more money made from exports, exporting goods and services. So if Nigeria does not have quality production capacity, what are they going to export to the world? You see, those are the limitations. And the one topping the chart is that of bigotry and tribal divide. Now, having mentioned these 4 areas, the tribal divide and bigotry, lack of progressive policies, lack of production capacity, and the lack of love for country, these 4 major areas are what is holding Nigeria down from moving to first world. Then again, what can be done? I said production capacity and all that. Now remember, commerce is the economic bedrock of any nation, and education is the growth bedrock of any nation. So when your citizens are well educated, they can go into various things and develop in various forms and ways. They also go into business and develop the economy of the country. Now, in Nigeria, the reverse is the case, where illiteracy is weaponized and bottleneck policies for business establishment is just crazy. So you see these two factors, these two bedrock of growing a nation is stifled in Nigeria. Now let me even go to the other part. Personally, I feel like the idea of having one seaport in the entire nation called Nigeria is a deliberate move to systematically put everyone under their watch. Because if there's a seaport in southeastern region and there's a seaport around in the middle belt or in the north, say Niger, Nasarawa, Plateau, around that region, and there's a seaport there, it caters to all of those people in the north and the middle belt. The seaport in maybe Abia, Akwa Ibom, between Abia, Akwa Ibom and Port Harcourt, caters to all of those in the southeast and south. And then Lagos State caters to southwest. There will be strong balance in the Nigerian commercial entity that will boost the economy so greatly because everyone will be in there. The bigotry will just die. I can promise you. Nobody will come after any election season and say, Igbos, go. By contrast, when these seaports are established, there will be a large exodus of people migrating from Lagos to these areas. You understand? And, cost of living in Lagos State, one, will reduce, and cost of living elsewhere also will reduce. Commercial activities in those states will improve. You understand? And then states will begin to have competition in terms of human capital development, infrastructural development. There will be proper development coming to Nigeria in many forms. You understand? And there will be money everywhere. People will not find politics attractive anymore as it is today. Now, every politician is clamoring that youth should come into government, come into government, come into government. I want to ask, why do you want me to come into government? To correct it or to fight you? I can't fight the old. These guys have strong cabals. But I want a policy that will change the commercial state of the country. I want a policy that will improve the educational state of the country. So, if all of us go into politics, then who will build the country? Who will do the business? Who will feed the old? You understand? It's important that we go into politics, but it's also important that there be policies. It's about policies, not about us coming into politics. It's about policies that literally improve the livelihood of the citizens. Don't box us in with one seaport in Lagos and say, come into government. What are we coming to do? It's still going to be the same. But these people have to deliberately, open their eyes and see the possibilities that can come with having seaports develop elsewhere in Lagos, in Nigeria, not Lagos State alone. So this is my ultimate clamor. Let us fight for, commerce and education, commercial development of of the Nigerian economy, basically. And I believe solely that one of the avenues to actually improve the commercial avenue of Nigeria is by, establishing seaports somewhere, because I see danger coming, because of the seaport that is only located in Lagos State. The Onne seaport can actually be developed solely for oil export and all that. However, one area that I need us to understand is this seaport that I am clamoring that we develop. I'm not saying federal government should do them, because for the next 50 years, federal government will not develop no one seaport, because there's a reason. There's something tied to the seaport in Lagos State. That's how they hold everyone together in one enclave called Nigeria, and then use the tribal bigotry to divide us. But if there's a seaport in all of these regions, everybody will move towards their region and stay there and do their business. So every election period, politicians and electorates will now decide by their own choice who to vote for. Politicians will not use divide and conquer anymore. It will be difficult for them to use, because when you come to the southwest, all you see are the citizens of the southwest. When you come to the southeast, all you see are the citizens of the southeast. Why would you now say, I'm not Yoruba, I'm Yoruba? No, 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 no. You will look for another strategy to do your campaign. I will look forward to your opinion in the comment section and your ideas, so we can deliberate and see what we can do or how we can reach the lawmakers with these ideas. Thank you so much. I remain Smart Joseph, and I'll see you in the next one.